A Girl Who Brought Down the World by Vivian G. Chapter 11, Outside. Christopher has thought a lot about his mortality after the magician attempted to kill him. He knows he will not live forever. He hoped to live on to 80 or 90, but now feels with the added stress factor, he might live to only 70. He takes another sip of his personal soda and opens another can. There are cans strewn all across the floor. He stares at a piece of paper that had been taped together.
Now that you understand, Rabbitoso, you always obey your father,
Christopher commands.
That's a father.
Rabbitoso responds.
I think people can learn a valuable lesson from this.
Christopher says as he decides to turn on the camera.
Attention, future fathers-to-be. If you are like me and haven't found your perfect future wife, you can always practice to be a better father when the time comes. You want to practice with the fake son? You can draw one. Take your favorite stuffed animal, or use one of your friend's children to learn how to be a better father. For example, Rabbitoso and I had just had a big fight and I hit him. Now, I know not to do that when I actually become a father from my future daughter, because taping together pieces of paper is very hard to do.
He shuts off the camera and looks at the checklist of things to do as prepared by the janitor. Christopher sees no differences from yesterday's checklist. Sleep, eat, sleep. However, there was one minor addition. Strengthen foreign relations. Christopher has no idea what to do, so he turns to fighting Rabbitoso.
You're my Secretary of State. How do you feel about strengthening our foreign relations?
Fighting Rabbitoso stares at Christopher and then responds.
It is necessary to spread the goodwill of the United States to purge the infidels from those blasphemous countries, my master. You're right, Fighting Rabbitoso. I will get on it right away.
He takes a look on the world map on the wall. Many of the countries are quite new to him, and it is very difficult for him to understand the separate crises that each country faces.
Fighting Rabbitoso, let's pick China.
Christopher picks up the phone to make a call, and a staff member answers.
Wait, that she said.
Hello, this is Christopher Winfield Vega. I would like to speak to the leader of China.
Patul. Hold on for a few seconds, thank you. 王爷，美国的大白是哪有你？
A few seconds later, Wang He answers the phone. Hello, Christopher. We've heard many things about your leadership in America. I would like to congratulate you on your victory.
Thank you. Who is this?
This is Hu Huanghe, the president of China.
Yeah, I would like to strengthen our foreign relations,
Mentions Christopher. Yes, that would be very good for our countries to be able to maintain a good relationship. What do you have in mind?
I do not know. What do you think we should do?
In China's great interest, it would be best to claim Taiwan as part of China. When one of your former presidents revoked the One China policy, it really strengthened the Taiwanese independence movement. We would be glad if you could reinstate that.
I see. Why do the Taiwanese people want to be independent?
Christopher asks. After a lengthy discussion with him, Christopher understands the history between the two countries.
So, when the Taiwanese people invaded during World War II, they took a lot of your video games and pirated them across the seas?
Yes, that is exactly right, Christopher, Wang He responds.
I will do my best to strengthen foreign relations with China,
says Christopher as he ends the phone call. Christopher decides to nuke Taiwan. A few minutes later, he gets a phone call from the president of China.
Hello, this is Christopher Winfield Vega. May I ask who is calling?
This is Xu Huanghui. Why did you do that?
Who are you?
I am the president of China. Did you already forget?
Hello, I thought about the history between China and Taiwan and decided that anyone who pirates video games should be punished with death.
After a long pause, Wang He responds, I see. The call is dropped as Christopher begins making another phone call to South Korea. In minutes, he is talking with the president of South Korea. What are you doing, Christopher? The president shouts angrily. You just bombed Taiwan! There is nothing left of that country!
I did what was best for strengthening United States foreign relations.
You are the last country on Earth with nuclear weapons. Every country agreed to dispose of all of their devices, yet you have made our worst fears come true. We can't trust Americans.
Are you saying my actions are wrong? Do you support Taiwan?
Of course we support Taiwan. They're one of our biggest markets.
I see.
Christopher hangs up the phone. Without hesitation, he nukes South Korea as well. Anyone who is pirating video games or is friends with a person who pirates video games should be sentenced to death. He soon receives a call from the president of North Korea thanking him for dealing with that annoying country to the south. Christopher asks what country is south of North Korea, and the call ends. Christopher picks up the phone to call the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom.
Hello, this is Christopher Winfield of Vega, and I would like to strengthen our foreign relations.
What? Replied the Prime Minister. You just bombed 2 countries. What is wrong with you?
They were countries who were asking for it. If they are gonna pirate, they will have to speak with me.
I can't believe this. Americans first elect you, and now you're going crazy! The Prime Minister shouts.
I am not crazy!
Right, you're not crazy, says the Prime Minister with fear. You know, I agree. Those countries were in fact asking for it.
Are there any problems with your country?
Not really. I mean, the people complain about the Polish taking jobs away, but that's nothing huge. No big deal.
Okay, I will bomb Poland,
says Christopher without any hesitation. No! Forget about Poland! The Prime Minister screams. A few minutes later, the country of Poland ceases to exist. Christopher ends the conversation with the United Kingdom's Prime Minister. Christopher decides that he has been doing an excellent job strengthening the foreign relations and takes a 3-hour nap. Within those 3 hours, many messages are left for Christopher, but they go unanswered. The janitor tosses the answering machine away and installs a new one. By then, most people have assumed Christopher had committed suicide, so he wakes up to no messages on the answering machine.
I was expecting people to compliment me on my good job of being president today, but no one left a call for me.
Christopher whines. He decides to make a phone call to Iraq.
Hello, this is Christopher Winfield Vega. I would like to speak to the president of Iraq.
A few minutes later, the president answers. Oh, it is always a pleasure to speak with the president of the United States. After all, we owe so much to you after you liberated us from the shackles of dictatorship and gave us democracy.
Yes, so how can we strengthen foreign relations between us?
Asked Christopher. You can always send us money. We will always accept money from the United States.
I currently do not have anyone in charge of America's finances, so I cannot do that.
Well, Christopher, you can help us in other ways. We have a list of countries that we find despicable, and we will request that you bomb them.
Sure,
he replies with great enthusiasm. By the time Christopher finishes his crusade, a fifth of the world no longer exists. Many countries declare a state of emergency knowing that there is not enough time to prepare for a nuclear weapon. Not many people even remember the existence of those weapons until Christopher began using them again. The whole world is set into a state of panic. They never thought Christopher could ever reach them. A child in Canada decides to not go to school today. He looks outside, staring up at the sky. Why aren't you getting ready for school? Asks the child's mother. Mom, what will happen when the United States decides to attack us? He won't, honey. We've always had a good relationship with the United States. Do not think much of it, dear. Just please go to school. Fine, Mom. The child heads off to school while the mother prepares a bomb shelter. She must keep it a secret from her child. After all, he's just going to waste precious resources. The child heads to school and meets up with his best friend. Hey, says his friend. Hi, the child responds dejectedly. What's wrong, buddy? I don't know. My mom says that the United States won't attack us, but I fear that it is still going to happen. Strange. That's what my parents said this morning. Don't sweat it. I'm sure that we won't get attacked. No one cares about Canada. That's right. Thanks, friend. The child goes to class to find that the teacher did not show up for work. Only the custodian shows up and just stares at the children in each classroom. He passes by each room, sighs, and moves on to the next one. This is weird, says the child. The teacher seems to be gone and there's no substitute. Maybe the teacher's sick, responds his friend. There is that bug going around, you know. Well, what are we supposed to do? I don't know. This has never happened. The children all decide to go outside and play in the snow. They decide to have a snowball fight, and they all soon stare at the sky and make snow angels. This is fun! I wish we didn't have teachers, exclaims the child. Yeah, man. Unlimited recess is great, replies his friend. I could just stare up at the sky all day. Look at those clouds. I see a rabbit. I see cotton candy. The two laugh as they point out the various objects in the sky. The children are lost in their laughter. That's weird. I've never seen something like that, says the child. There's so many of those things. It doesn't look like hail. This isn't hail, is it? Christopher sits around in his office. He hasn't strengthened foreign relations for about an hour. He needs to do something to make him seem like a better president. He still appears to be upset about not receiving any calls. He deserved those calls. He looks at all the past presidents and sees all the awards they'd get from foreign countries.
Hey, janitor, do you think I'm a good president?
Christopher asks. Yes, Christopher. Of course you are.
Are you sure? I never got any congratulatory calls.
Oh, well, maybe you should make some more phone calls. It takes more than a few hours' work to get any recognition these days.
You're right.
As he dials in the number for Brazil's president.
Hello, this is Christopher Winfield Vega. I would like to speak to your president.
Hold on for a minute. This is Luiz Franco, President of Brazil. What do you want?
I would like to strengthen foreign relations between us.
There is absolutely nothing you can do for our country or for anyone else's.
What do you mean? I've helped many countries out today,
Christopher exclaims. You didn't do anything. Please do not contact us. We are busy today. Christopher hangs up the phone with a face full of anger. How dare that country decide to completely ignore all of his accomplishments, he thinks to himself. He decides to look on the map for Brazil as he decides if that country can't acknowledge his accomplishments. That country is obviously a terrorist state. He finds Brazil on the map and presses the button to bomb it. Are you sure? Asks the screen. Christopher types in yes, and the missile to bomb Brazil takes off. Christopher finds himself thirsty after getting up to type in yes, and picks up a soda from the table. He accidentally spills some soda on the screen. A child in Canada continues to stare at the sky, looking at all of those mysterious objects in the sky. My mother lied to me, is the last thing the child says.